a keynote session by one of our leaders, that is Mr. Kshitij. He handles the strategies for the PMS function at Keka. So can we please have Kshitij on stage?
Hi everybody. Let me first quickly check, am I audible to the last corner of the room? Can somebody raise their hands? Alright, perfect, thank you very much. So, Nisha did an introduction. Let me simplify my introduction a bit. So, I'm Kshitij Chennai, I'm a process coach here at Keka. I've been part of the journey of the entire Keka evolution. So, we started this company around 2016 with somewhere close to 10 people. Today we have like 1,500 people in our organizations with, we providing HR technology to more than 9,000 organizations around India. So, well, this journey kind of, the revolution that we aimed for, when we started it, the revolution itself changed with a period of time. We saw the flux of how workplaces are changing, how new situations are coming. COVID happened very recently, and then hybrid is the new normal, right? So the technology over a period of time has been trying to find that relevance with the community. So keeping that in mind, why we thought, let's not waste our times having digital calls with the people. Let's get onto the ground, meet the community, understand that what is going to be the next big thing that we should be developing as a product inside our company. So I welcome you all to this conclave. This conclave is designed from a Maslow hierarchy of needs, where we understand that HR community has needs all over the place. There are basic needs, and then safety, sustainability, love and belongingness, so forth, esteem and self-actualization. So keeping that in mind, we've designed this conclave to bring forward all the different kind of opportunities linked to every level of the Maslow. To keep that in mind and develop that in the conclave. So I thank you all for finding time for this. We're going to have multiple sessions today. A couple of sessions on the key burning problems that the HR community is facing today will be centered around it. I will be doing one of the sessions at the end of it, where I'll give a quick glance of what Keka does and how Keka can help you in streamlining the processes which seem mundane a lot of times. So thank you everyone. I think we can get started.
Keka started these series of conclaves, and when we actually started, this was not HR Catalyst, this was HR Conclave. And the idea behind HR Catalyst is the fact that human resource professionals act as a catalyst for boosting the growth of every organization, correct? So that is why HR Catalyst came into existence, and more on it because you are not seeing all the people involved in making HR Catalyst what it is today, right now on the ground. So here is a video which will introduce you to all of them. Can we have the video please? Let's begin the discussion for today, that is productivity monitoring. For the starters, I would like to know how many people here are entrepreneurs or founders or CEOs for that matter. Can I have a show of hands please? Alright, we do have some entrepreneurs and founders in the room here. And what about CXO positions? Any CXOs over here? People who definitely belong to the HR function itself, but are in the senior levels. Any CHROs in the house? Lovely. Okay, alright. So that being said, I would like to know from HRs and everybody in general, what do you think about productivity monitoring? Because there are a lot of tools in place, there are a lot of technology aspects that involve monitoring the productivity of your employees. How far do you think it is fair? So, with the show of hands, do you think it is fair to have a monitoring in place that actually tracks your hourly productivity or performance of your employees? Anybody who thinks that? Wonderful. Okay. We'll get back to you all in the...
So productivity is, for me, it all depends on which category of product you have. So we are a product company, and we don't go hourly basis, so we go on a results driven. More KPIs are outcome driven instead of hourly. But yes, answering your question, productivity, we monitor the results, which becomes weekly tracking or monthly tracking or this way. Sorry, we don't do hourly, but right. I know hourly tracking does exist. It is dependent on which category, which type of product or services you have.
Right, all right. And what about you, Mr. Tani? What do you think?
Yeah, I hope you can hear me at the back. Lovely, good. So, in our context, Basware, I think I will take a moment to explain about my organization. Basware is a pure play product organization, as Mr. Johar also represents. So, in our context, we basically monitored what I would say outcomes. Big believer in outcomes, basically. Revenue is a great barometer. your customer satisfaction. So those are the sort of, I would say, the metrics we operate. Now coming back to the productivity as a question, I think it is equally important to monitor it, and I will probably bring a spin on that, and I think we will have more debate as we go. Just for a simple fact that the bright talent always like to know if they are doing better than the others. So if you don't do that, trust me, you are losing a plot. So.
Right. And what do you think about the organizations that actually follow it? Because we do know that they are HRs, they are organizations who shy away from that. They don't really say it, very openly, but they have tools in place that monitor their employees, or they would love to have certain tools that can monitor their employees. What do you think about that? Is that a lack of trust in their employees? Is that, the so-called employee experience that they are furnishing for their employees? How do you think about that? Please go ahead.
I'll start first. Pretty valid point, and as Sanjeev also shared, it is outcome driven. Now, if I see as a CEO, I always take this as a paid hey, my guy working with me, every he or she should get 24% appraisal. Is that valid? How many people agree to that? 24% appraisal year-on-year basis.
24 you said?
24.
Okay. Never really heard that number, but all right.
That's my target. Now, to get this 24%, organization has to grow by around 80 to 90% or 100%. Only then you can offer that much, and then the new leadership position comes up, trainings comes out, everything comes out. Now for that, if I become very much hardcore, hey, you have to deliver results keep increasing every 3 or 4% every month on month basis, it might feel bad at that moment, but end of year when 24% comes up with all handsome bonuses, then it is a smile, that satisfaction, that proud these guys get is enormous. Now it is always a balance. If this monitoring is to only increase the profitability of the company, then yes, I count, it may be considered as a negative. But once my intent is to make sure that you make that much money, you make that much bonuses, then it becomes more productivity, and they never object to me, and they are happy to go ahead. I'm not saying 100% people are happy with that monitoring, but people who are happy, they're happy.
So you are saying that a lot of your employees are also okay with any productivity monitoring tools in place?
People who are not happy, we change them.
Alright, what about you, Mr. Battaglia?
Yeah, so, my company's headquarters are in the Happy Nation, so, Finland actually, it's the world's happiest nation, I think most of you may know about that, but I'll come to that in a moment. If I go back to your question, Vishal, I think it is about organizations do productivity measurement, whether it's right, ethical, I think that's the premise of our question, right?
Yeah.
I would say it entirely depends on the business model of the organization. Say if you are deploying your resources for somebody else with an agreement that, Mr. Kumar is working for you for these many committed hours, there's an absolute merit in doing it, my view. At the same time, if you are outcome driven, you know what you want to do it. In that case, it is DNWT, which is do not waste time. So again, it depends on the situation and those kind of things, but there's nothing against productivity measurement.
All right. But do you think it is vital for any organization to succeed? Because we understand that just monitoring them, a micromanagement for that matter, in a physical manner is not really the apt situation, or it is not really the apt element of ensuring that the productivity is at an all-time high level, right? So do you think it is crucial for any organization to succeed, or do you think this is the pattern, the strategy that successful organizations actually bring into their strategies and policies?
Yeah, I can go first this time, Mr. Rod. Short term, yes. Short term, it leads to what I would call immediate gains, sort of a 0 to 10%, 10 to 20, and all of that. But long term, it will never succeed. Long term. Again, now you, as a professional, have to have your own, what I would call, time horizon on this. What you think is short term versus long term. Mostly what I've noticed is the entrepreneurs and the other sort of organizations, they are PE funded, to obviously lift their spirits. They obviously are guided towards the some of the things which you just mentioned, Dr. Nishad. But again, as I said before, short term it works, long term you got to do more than just the productivity measurements. Yeah.
Absolutely agree with you. So if you are doing monitoring, which is micromanage, it works sometimes. Most of the time it is not. It does not work a lot. Right? As an organization, you have to bring a culture which is either by our core values or either as a CEO, you need to become accountable to your KPIs and declare every week where you stand. And people see it's a challenging KPI, and then your leadership starts following it. Then everybody starts. And that's how you build a culture. And that works far better. Like we have approximately around 100 people right now, and it's all driven by the core value. And we always say, hey, you send me a wrong report, is a compliance to core value or not? Right? And that's how this whole system works. We don't need to do micro. Yes, we do have a PAP program, we do have other programs. In training, you have to undergo trainings or punishments or whatever you call it. But yes, overall, it is all belongingness, overall it is all engagement level. They own the company, they own that whole team, and then they work. And it's not only words, PAP programs and all this are tracking programs, but it is more a culture.
Right, when you talk about culture and embedding, productivity tools in your everyday organization, correct? But then there comes the picture of employee experience and employee engagement, as you were rightly mentioning. But I don't think, how many of us here think that, measuring productivity hourly with certain tools and everything, right, is a good way to increase employee experience, to enhance your employee experience. Will that help? No. Or will that rather, degrade your employee experience? I can honestly see a lot of negative reviews coming up on Glassdoor if that happens. And so yeah, that being said, what do you think, is it still important for employee experience, or how will that hamper your organization? Because both of you all were mentioning that there are pros and cons to it. But what about employee experience?
Yeah, so it can certainly lift your employee experience, but towards the worst. Possibly. Yeah, so just one point which Mr. John, you said, if I may add to that, the previous bit. You see, there's something about discretionary effort. I think most of us in the room are from the HR fraternity, so that's why I'm bringing that as a topic. So if we are looking at getting the discretionary effort from our employees or the teammates, let's not get into the trap of this productivity and those kind of things. Because every day people bring it with them, they have it in their pockets, but they take it back in their pockets, as we all know that. We have studied about it. Now going back to your question again, Dr. Nishad, I think the employee experience is a very unique thing. It's a culture you build in the organization. It's again a very sustained input you do day in, day out. Right. My view usually on that is that the organizations have to be magnanimous with the people. And again, I'm not saying that mean or anything. I'm not coming from that pedestal per se. But organizations got to be magnanimous. Leadership has to be magnanimous with their people, even if sometimes there are ifs or buts. But at the same time, if it is about ethics, it is about what I would say, other things, hanky-panky. You understand that? Then we got to take a call.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I would leave us with that.
Right. So I think there are a lot of alternatives that we can take, right? In place of productivity trackers, in place of productivity tools that track your hourly performance. We also have certain performance systems, our regular HRMS, right? Our HRIS systems, and they do track your performance, but in a different aspect, which is probably more acceptable by the employee, right? So what do you think are certain alternatives to productivity tracking which are hourly-based?
Speaker problem. Right. It was you. Look like some brain issue. Okay, anyways. Yes, as you said, people have tools, techniques available. And just we've seen that historical video, how HR department is evolving. And I'm sure there might be some video which says how HR will look like next 10 years.
I'm sure Dave Aldrich will have that there.
Right. So I'm as a CEO, I'm more into automation. One of our product is which automatically reads resumes, scan them, categorize them, and give us scoring in a system. So I'm a guy who's more into automation system.
Right.
First process, if any organization is building, of course, is all an Excel sheet or on paper, right? I have seen the papers written and signed and all that stuff I've seen. Then you get into slowly either Excel sheets or Google Sheets. And then once you structure your whole system, you structure your OKRs or KPIs, that's what you call it, you structure your appraisal mechanisms, then you go to whole automation system, which is tools. Currently, we are rolling out PMS from Keka. And of course, it's a 1-year journey, it's not an overnight journey. Don't think it is next day you say Keka is switched on and everything is solved.
Right.
So I was talking to Shitej before this event and let me share that story. And he says, how's the PMS rolling out going on? I said, we started last year, something we changed, something you guys changed. And that's how this rollout is going on this year.
Right.
So it is yes, if you are looking for a scalable organization, getting from a non-biased systems, tools are mandatory. You have to get out from Excel sheets, you have to get out from your paper sheets, you have to get out from your memory, oh I remember everything. Nothing's gonna get remembered. People are gonna change. Other person has to come up and you have to hand over the same KPIs to a new person. You cannot set up and again set up a whole chapter and the whole setup. You need a tools to scale. You cannot put your team members to do a data entry point. Let them do a productive task. So tools are mandatory. A hell lot of tools are available in the market. Yes, we love Keka. Why? I'm not going to talk here. Anybody wants to talk me separately. But yes, answering your questions, hourly or even non-hourly systems, you need a tools, you need a automation systems, you need a transparency in your whole processes. You cannot change a process. Hey, generally I thought this thing, February I thought this way, so process changed. You cannot. If you have a quarterly review with the team, let's have a quarterly transparency system. Maybe it's a half-yearly transparency systems. You need to tell exactly to start the year how much percentage you expect if you meet your 100% of KPI. And that mathematics is all on a different mathematics. Did I answer your question?
Absolutely. So I think what you said in a gist was that technological tools like performance management systems can definitely substitute your productivity tracking tools.
They enhance many things, not only substitute.
All right. And what do you think, Mr. Katalyst?
Yeah, I think my whole life I worked for the technology company, so I would obviously say that the software, the tools are the precursor. I've not utilized your tools, so I will probably hesitate to say anything on that.
Yeah.
And as a board member, I cannot.
But
Yeah, I think I would probably go back a little bit on the leadership to begin with on this bit. I think that is something we got to fix. And when you train people, the experience to create. What we do in my organization, which I'm allowed to talk, is the quarterly reviews. We are very, very, I would say, passionate about it. We don't do it as a drudgery. I just want to be very, very sort of clear on that. It put lots of pressure on us. If I look at what we call the span of control, its average is 10.5 to SLM. It is not easy to be SLM in Basware, I can possibly say that. But that's what we expect from them, and it works. It works. At least we get some trends. But adding to that, Dr. Nishad and Mr. John, I think having the tools, tracking that, because I have some exposures in the SAP while I was working for that organization. I think it's very seamless to sort of get the access, do the things. By the way, in Basware also we use API. I can't name that.
Lovely. All right. So I think what we have understood is that productivity tracking does work, but sometimes not for the long term, right? So we had certain people here who were saying that they would be in favor of a productivity tracker. Can you please have the hands again? We don't have the hands anymore. The people who were saying that productivity monitoring should be done.
According to me, when it comes to analyzing the productivity, see, as an HR, it's my responsibility to track that someone is available on the system for 8 hours. For me, it's just that I'm monitoring that this person is available for like 8 hours. But from the project management perspective, if I think about it that way, like specifically for the service industry. So we are from a service sector. We do have products as well. I know the difference that how we do the project management in products and service sector. So when it comes to like delivering the things on time, you need to monitor your employees. Why? Because let's say I have sold a service that needs to be delivered in 3 months. There are 30 people who are going to work on it.
Right.
So I am not counting their leaves. I'm not counting the holidays. I'm not counting anything. So these things are going to impact the deliveries. So for me, it is important because at the end product that we are delivering to the client, that needs to be on time. So that will bring the more business from the client. So the first thing is that. Then the second thing is, we all know like what happened after COVID. Like everyone is working from home, so it was not easy to monitor people that what they are doing at home. So we are not asking them to log in to some systems or anything. I know like we do use Jira for the project management, but sometimes it happens that we are not completing your sprints, we are not available in the stand-ups, and if you are in the stand-up, there are a lot of disturbance happening behind you, so the system monitoring is important. And if you are able to delicately give your 8 hours to the organization, because that is expected out of you, because we are also answerable to the clients. But when it comes to the internal products, that is, I believe, somewhere negotiable. Because the team that is working on the product, we usually don't have deadlines for that. But for the projects that we are going to deliver to the third parties, we do have deadlines.
Right, but I think here the concept of having a goal-based system rather than an hourly system comes into the picture, right? And especially when it's a project-based company or a project-based activity in itself, it's a different ballgame. What do you think?
Absolutely. So, as I said earlier, it is all project to project, service to service driven, right? And if you can quantify an activity and make it outcome, even a project management or consulting projects,
sure.
No need to track hours, just track work. And but if you cannot, like call center, you cannot track hourly designing or hourly consulting programming services or any other hourly service, you cannot track.
Correct.
So then you need a monitoring, but micromanaging that stuff is always challenging. One thing which I see in Silicon Valley is how they do is they release the median numbers. Let us say a call center. How many people handle calls and how many good calls and bad calls? Of course, hourly tracking, but they track. Yes. Another example, I take Keka Katalyst stuff in Make My Trade. I visited his office. He has a minute-by-minute tracking of outcome. So if any 1 minute this sales has dropped, suddenly the alarm goes off and Keka Katalyst is there to sit and say, hey, my payment gate is not working, this is not working, this is not working. So he's there to solve the problem. So it is all depend on how big your vision is, how big operations you want to go, but it's not employee tracking. It is overall system need to be tracked.
So what do you think? Yes, please. Can you have the mic here? Right. Your name and company.
Hi, this is Naina from Gravity Interactive. Since you're a doctor, I'm going to say it in your way. So it's like having diabetes and not tracking it at all. So,
alright. I mean, ma'am, that puts it in a very different picture, to be honest.
yeah.
Are you calling low employee productivity as a disease by any chance? Because diabetes is a condition, right? So are you calling that something, of a condition?
So let's say
medical ailment?
It is. Let's say if you are moving towards success and few people are not able to keep up, your whole organization would go down in one way or the other. It would impact you guys, right? So there is another concept that I feel, having the knowledge and using it while, the productivity is not good, but using it for micromanage, I think these are two different aspects. Let's say you said that there are different goals. What if somebody doesn't achieve those goals? How will you see, where the person lagged? So in that case, the productivity, if you track it, it comes handy. You can tell the person that, this is where you lag and this is how you can improve. So I think it's important. It's really important.
So for me or Sanjeev?
No, it was perspective.
There wasn't any. I was just going on my views here.
But I can quickly
Sure,
comment on that.
sure.
I think very, very important one. brought a fantastic point. And I can probably give you an example. What we
Yes,
have
please.
noticed. So obviously, like any organization, we are trying to drive the hybrid skills so that one people can do two people work. So in order to achieve that, we obviously went ahead with what I would call is the timesheet, because we were not going anywhere, right? Everybody will say, "Ki main busy hu, ye hai, wo hai." And so just to get the outcome, we started with that concept. It didn't work first quarter, but somebody kept asking for it. So it worked in the second quarter, 50%. And so certain situations it does work. So
Have you tried timesheets for that matter?
Let me add how we do it. Think about this. You want to maintain your health, great. For that, there's two options. You wait for heart attack or you do regular checkups.
Exactly.
Right? So what we do is weekly track if anybody is not able to meet the numbers. It's not something that's problem. Sometimes he or she is not doing activities. So we call it PIP, where they can reach to me or their leader. We sit with them for 1 hour and show them how to do activities. Or we find, oh, this particular stage, like this stage is not moving, the leads are not moving, or programming is not moving, R&D is not moving, one particular stuck stage. So we identify and then we help them to resolve that problem. So idea is to make him productive, but not at the end of the month or end of quarter, at the end of the week, right at that moment.
So I think that helps, and tracking the issue, if it's skill or will, is important too. But I think to track it, we need to track it.
Alright, but that brings me back to my question. Have you tried timesheets?
Yeah, we do have it.
And it didn't work?
It works. It works fine. But
But then why do you still vote for productivity monitoring tools?
so this is how we are productive. We are monitoring the productivity of a person. What do you feel in time sheet? You feel where your hours are going, right?
Right.
So that's how we are tracking.
Alright, and what about any PMS system?
We do have in place. And so, like I'm saying, PMS, measuring the goals is a long-term thing. Even if you do it quarterly, okay? Even if you do it monthly, it's going to be at the end of the month. But what about every day? So I think for long-term, PMS is great. But for every day, you need to have something in place.
But I don't understand. I mean, for some reason, it still brings me back to the same point of not having trust in your employees, tracking them every day.
So like I said, you don't have to use it. I mean, it's not about trusting. It's about just monitoring what they're doing, okay? Nobody's asking you, let's say, if you find out a glitch, the person is not working. It could be anything. Nobody's, asking you to go to the person and maybe penalize the person or micromanage. It's just the useful information that every company should have. That is all I feel.
Let me add to that. So we have a kids at home. How many people want their kid to fail? How many kids really want their kid to be successful in their life? How many of you are actually very hard to your kids sometimes, not all the time, sometimes?
I mean, I don't have kids, I don't know.
Some small kid in the family. So if intent is to uplift that person, you need to monitor. You need to do annual examination for the kids. Here is a weekly or quarterly or half yearly or yearly, as we call it. And it is just a monitoring to help that person be successful in their life. What time they need training, what time the leadership training required, some communication training required, not required, hey, you enhance the skills. So all that combination is combination. That's why I feel EMS is required. Absolutely required. You should monitor. Yes, micromanage. I'm not in favor of that. So it's all stages what we call it. You cannot micromanage it. So they write 1, 2, 3 for a kid. No, not that way. Right. It's just an activity. They need a freedom. They need a liberty.
Yeah.
One
Lovely. Can you
Yeah,
please
so
have
if I can just...
I'll just come back to you.
So you talked about the trust, so I'll just quickly comment on that. Trust is a two-way traffic. You see, I mean, the reciprocal, obviously, as I said, the magnanimity of the organization. But again, if there is no trust coming downstream, I mean upstream rather, so you obviously you've got to be vigilant about that. But trust is very, very important.
Share HR as a 360 degree. That how it evolved. 15 years back, Mrs. Ramchandran of CHR of Infosys said a movie came there, QSQT. Anybody say what is QSQT movie? Kyamat se Kyamat. And from there, Mrs. Ramchandran got a clue and she initiated quarter se quarter tak review in Infosys. That was the first time 15 years back when Infosys initiated that. That let's review now. It's happening a yearly appraisals. let's review our quarterly appraisals and see what outcome is there. It evolved in 15 years back that time. Now then we started, let's start why a goal setting came in between. When we're talking about the productivity, it's an outcome. It's an outcome. We are not talking about outcome. Outcome can be monitored in March quarterly reviews. But before that, you have to set your goals. You have to set your KRAs. You have to set your KPIs. Now the last is then you review the performance of every person. I'm not saying do a micro level, which one of our friends have shared here. A micro level goes too much of an trust. You have to build the trust. And a micro level reached in the COVID times. Not before that, there was a micro level monitoring happening. There was a review happening, projects are completed, very senior people are here, they know what is happening, and you all people know that we will review in a quarter or a 6 month or that. Mr. Jory also shared about PIP. How many of you share a PIP? Now PIP was the outcome of that. A performance improvement plan, you have to give a chance to someone. There is a possibility at that quarter a salesperson or a project was not able to complete. And you say, sir, thank you, you are not able to complete your project. Then you give him another 3 months in PIP. So you see the evolvement is happening now. You are evolving. PIP came. Now very important part is HR. You people, many of them are not aware of labor law compliances. You say one day, come, you are lost. You are not able to complete your work. And let's either you resign or we will say thank you to you. That's an outcome. You are not able to achieve your productivity. Now here he will come and or she will come and say, so why? You never share with me that I'm not doing a productive, I'm not a productive person.
Mr. Sachdeva, your mic is pretty low.
You are not sharing with me that you are not a productive. So quarterly review, monthly review, giving up PIPs, all save you from labor law compliances.
Right, I think that is a very valid point.
So that's a productivity is not only a trust, what Mr. Patania also shared. Trust, you have to, but we also have to earn 80-90% growth of an organization, 20% if you have to give an increment, a right to person get an increment, everything to be very structured. You can't say thank you anybody, anytime, anywhere. You should have a documentary evidence. You all are HR professionals here. You can't say all these things. So make a process and then you work on it.
Right. We also had another question from somewhere in the last.
I want to rephrase this question. It really got my side, and this is beautiful as I look at it. So essentially, the pointer that is being raised here, I'll rephrase it in a little simpler way to understand. So although, like as we talked about Ms. Murthy, brought it to Infosys 15 years back. This ideology of continuous tracking of productivity came from Peter Drucker in 1940. So when he said that if you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it, right? But at that point of time, that was the extent, and that's how we designed the modern day workplaces with that concept that we will measure every single aspect of a business that is possible. That includes even the sentiments of people if you look at it. So my question to you, Vinay, is that while it is a well-established code that if you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. There is a very fine line where it becomes micromanagement. It starts disabling people, too much tracking, and then beyond that, it just helps them to be more, to get that transparency that how productive are they really, right? So how do we define that as a business and as an HR professional? That would be a great input.
So this we had last year. We had a training internally and already executed. Exactly the same concept, like how far you can go in managing. So we changed to something called from managing to mentorship. So if my intent before I put in PIP and that person proposed to me for 24/7 and next 2 weeks, to tell my intent is not to fire you. My intent is to improve you, help you out to make more money, help you out to perform. Then that acceptability is there. I'm not saying all the employees have to go to that. Maybe 2-3% people have to go through that process. We have a very recent, last 2 weeks I came in India. So there's 2 people, they said, when I need to fire them. Actually firing question. And say, you have to do it. I said, okay. So he was looking for a note, I called him. I don't know when I was talking, I said, no, you can get a chance to do it. improve. Only thing is, if you are, I can help you out. I sit with him almost 3 nights. Almost 72 hours we stayed in office. We talked. Today, one of the directors says, Vinay, it is BMI difference. So when I have micromanaged, yes, I did it. But it is my intent? No. So it is all very thin line. So I become manager? No. I become mentor? Yes. So if all the organization, at least leadership, stay the mindset from managing to mentorship wherever required, sometimes you need a managing also. Now we have introduced another layer in a company called coaches. So that layer is now evolving. I have my own personal coach, I have business coach, my communication coach, my stress coach, I have all that coaches working for me. Now we have, my leadership team has their personalized coaches. So we are now introducing external, internal, all sort of coaches, so that idea is to help these guys to become unstoppable. And if he or she become unstoppable, we all become better.
Am I right? Very good.
Yeah, Kshitij, I hope that answers your question.
It does, and it is pretty much in line with what Google does also. So if we look at Google practice, there is one thing which is bizarre as per the standards of industries, which is if you go to Google, managers do not have a responsibility of communicating the KPIs to people. They say we can run it over an Excel or send it over a tool to people. Why are you required to tell them that if you're performing well on your goals, if you're lagging on your goals, or if you need to improve? The only KPI that mid-management has in Google is to help your team succeed. That's the only KPI. That's the only KPI on which you will be rated after a period of time. So pretty much in line with that, and I think that's going to be the future of workplaces, because we are looking at a lot of upskilling being required by the people in all workplaces. Technology is changing the way things work. Thank you.
Yeah.
But just to add to that, please, alignment with the strategy, as you mentioned, of course, about the monitoring performance and measuring the performance. Alignment with the strategy, just going back to your point about the Google, is super critical, super important. I think that's where the organizations also lose a little bit of plot, I would call. Because if you are able to align your troops to the strategy, the bigger picture, this is how it will translate, and this is where we are going. It really helps. And then of course, the tools and everything we have been talking about is the sort of guiding principles towards that. But then if push companies up, you got to do what you got to do.
Right. And post that question, anybody else who has a question? I think you have one. Right, please. Can we have the mic here?
I have a question for Mr. Chopra. Now we have a team of recruiters has a lot of data that we work on daily basis. So how do they justify their productivity, or how do you track it?
Great. So as I shared earlier, I'm a guy who loves automation. So we automation up to the level, if you come to my office, I can show you how level we go. Since you talk about recruiter, that's what my company actually is famous for. Worldwide, we serve to almost 500 plus enterprises, we name it, our partner or customer. We can read, like tools are available. We can automate the read results. That's one of the data entry. Match, score, we can do that. I'm sure Keka recruiting tool also does this exactly the same thing. And then the recruiter become more productive in closing jobs rather than searching for resumes or anything like that. Of course, later on, a lot of automation is done, AI tools, ready AI, where I'm conversing with the candidate, somebody makes some notes and then submit it to the system. So every organization has to invest in that. I talk to many startup companies or staff, and they say, oh, this is too much cost. And I always smile. It's a cost associated. You save not only the salary part of the person, your organization will get a candidate, instead of 45 days of meeting, you can get it within 21 or 18 days. How productive it will be. Choice is yours. Right? So this is how productivity is. Like you need to automate one, then you need to track it out. Thank you.
Correct. I hope that answers your question. Perfect. Can we go to the next one, please?
Hi. So, more than a question, there's a point where is productivity monitoring fair and analytical, or the purpose or the intent behind it? I feel the purpose or the intent is more important here, because what are you using it for? Are you using it for analysis, better revenue recognition, if you are having time and material projects, of course it is important. You need to monitor because you're billing your clients like that, right? But who is using, who's having the access to that data? So that is a high-level goal that the leadership or the ELT or the high-level executives set. Who has the access, who's making use of it? If it's the PMO who's making use of it to achieve a certain goals, I think it definitely should be in place. But if it is actually to micromanage and to downsize or fire or giving managers too many leverage over it or too much leverage over it and granular details to be shared with mid-level or junior level managers, then I think it can be misused. So would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it comes down to how your, any person who has access to it is also exploiting the data that's available, right? Yes, Mr. Chandra?
I mean, data as such is gold. I think there's no harm in sort of capturing the data. First and foremost, I would say that. Because intent, as you already mentioned, if it's a business, I mean, your intent is to run the business, right? You are not running a sort of charity enterprise, basically. So if you are running a business enterprise, you obviously like to look at the data of how many people are productive. And I think I go back to my original point again, David, sometime in the beginning. Your top talent wants to be recognized separately. And if you don't do that, you lose a problem. So that is where this data will come handy. Utilize it for that, not for the ill.
Right. We have a little time constraint, so any other question that we may have over here, I can pick that up. Right.
So I just want to support 2 points which sir mentioned about mentorship. So the intent of monitoring the
Can you be a little louder, please?
Sure. So the intent of monitoring the productivity of any employee, it is that their leadership wants that employee to succeed in his or her role. So if this is clear at the beginning only, that okay, we are not doing a micromanagement sort of a thing. We want you to improve, because if you will improve, the business will improve and the company will grow. So then the expectations get set between the leadership and the employee, so that employee take this thing as a positively. If I give example of myself, so there has been time then where my TAT has been increased from 30 to 45 days. So I had a word with my manager that okay, I need to bring down my TAT to 20 to 30 days. So let's do something extra. So he said that okay, we will do your productivity monitoring weekly basis or a daily basis. It's your choice. So that I will help you where you are lacking, how you can increase your cold calling or how you can increase your sourcing strategies in order to get a potential candidate. So and that will segregate you with other recruiters. So you will be highlighted that okay, this guy is doing something extra. He is himself bringing this factor, okay, let's consider productivity monitoring, but not mentioning this thing is in mind that okay, this will be a micromanagement. So mentorship is I would say, a word which we can replace with a micromanagement if delivered with the good advice from the leadership.
Right. I think mentorship was also what Mr. John was talking about, right? So if you'd like to take that.
Sure. First of all, did you go back, say congratulations to Sameer. He has brought that culture to you, right? See, mentorship is not a process, it is all a mindset. What do you call it? Like I take an example of a kid. It's a parent's mindset to make that kid successful or a failure is always successful. What process is parenting perfect? No. Even today, parenting is evolving? Yes. So don't expect organization is going to do a perfect process for you. Organization is also learning, you are also learning, everybody is learning. And once they reach to a point, another something else is going to do beyond that. So what brought you here is not going to take you there. And we all want to go there, right? Everybody want $1 million in their bank account? Yes.
So I think that answers your question and definitely brings forward your perspective on mentorship being replaced by micromanagement. So thank you so much for that. And yes, we had a question from here.
Hi sir, good evening everyone. I actually have a different question, and that is like, is it possible or is it fair to use a single tool for everyone, that is implementing like for the cross-function piece? Because we are a service-based company and we have developers, we have designers, there are project managers and other teams as well. So like, is it fair to, use just a single tool to manage the productivity of everyone? Because everyone have their different KRAs, they have different KPIs. So how can we solve that problem?
Yeah, I think it's overkill to use the single tool to just to sustain. But at the same time, you got to understand, you will not have a choice of things in any organization. But I think the point is that you obviously have some baseline, and then obviously you go by say in my organization we have a CSM, which is very different functions, very different kind of people, very extroverts, as an example, very fun-loving and this that. If you try to implement what you do with the developers with them, they will be not coming next day. So that is my point. So you got to have sort of a customize and commoditize it, and then again, but the baseline in terms of the intake of the inputs got to have some similarity, because sometimes you got to move people from A to B also. Please understand. You will not have people work whole life as a CSM. They would like to grow. So that being the underlying statement in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I would like to add one more thing. Suppose we have designers and we are a service-based company, so we generate business from the different platforms. Like there is Upwork, Page Plaza. I believe many of people will agree with me. So clients have their own trackers, like TDs there. Even Upwork has if someone is working for a client from Upwork, so they have their own platforms, right? So in that case, we don't take it as a productivity monitoring, because client has given us a particular task and we have to deliver it in a particular time. On the other hand, there is one client who has given us a task and we have to deliver it in next 3 days. So we don't monitor it like if employee will deliver it 1 day, 2 day or 3 day, maybe he will procrastinate it or postpone it for the last day, maybe he will deliver it in the first day. So that is something that we do in our organization. We just provide them KPIs, there is KRA, there is deadline, and they just have to do it, like they just have to deliver it on time. That's all I was trying to say.
Sure. Fair enough.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah, sure.
Please go ahead.
So it's the two things we all need to understand. There's something called activity, something called productivity. So if you're doing a task-driven company, so you are more into activity, how many calls you did, how many designs you make, how many 5 ratings you got it. That's more activity-driven. Productivity-driven is, I don't know UI, but my UI UX KPIs I can tell you because I set it up 3 years back. Hey, how many less clicks customer has to do? Can you provide information whenever the customer is thinking about that information? Can you fit in all that information in one single page and then it's easy to find out? That's where the productivity comes in as a product. Now I have no idea, like it's all dependent client to client, situation to situation. I'm not saying everybody where it fit in, but if you have to increase the uplift your UI UX guys or designers or you guys, you need to think ahead of the curve, and then of course task 5 rating is important, but add one thing extra. Can we get a wow feeling, or I normally call it a wow feeling in a company? Customer can shock, hey, a lot of information is here, but it's all clean design. I have to do less clicks. I just think an information just pop up, right? That's where it all becomes the whole.
Yeah. So this is the last question that we can take short. Sorry, Shudich, we cannot answer your question. You don't have any questions, okay? Yeah, can we please have the mic over there? Yes, right.
Hi, good evening. I really like the idea that Mr. Johar has mentioned that to track or monitor the performance, we should check out the data of the top performers. But I would like to ask you that you have also mentioned that the top performers should kept separately. Do you think so? It will create biasness between, or like I think it will increase more senior and subordinate relationship into the organization.
Do you know a person named called Chanakya?
Sure.
2 theories from Chanakya, Santam, Danded. Ved is game theory.
I mean, how we will justify it to the alright. Yes.
So game is a game theory. Ved is just a game theory. You differentiate people. So let us say, Ved you cannot do the product performance. At the bottom of the pyramid, let us say I have a appointment set of people. and 10 people there. We run a competition in a company who gets maximum meetings in a week, and they get rewarded. That's a pay that I'm grading, that's a competition I'm grading.
Okay.
Of course, top performer, you cannot say my CHRO, my CTO.
Project managers.
Yeah. So if there's a true project manager, you define what exactly you want. Profitability, as an organization, what is your KPI? If there's a profitability or a productivity, right? You guys delivered more hours or more products easily, within the budget. Yes, it's up to you how you create a combination. Sam, Dam, Samchana. Dam is bonuses.
Yes.
That means punishment.
PIPs.
And Bhed is game theory.
Yes.
Right? All these four in a sequence. Don't change it. First, mentoring. Then, you get incentivized. You get punished, PIP. Then you have a game theory.
I think that answers your question, and that was brilliantly answered, Mr. George. Thank you so much for that. And taking up the last question here, can we have the mic?
Before I put my question ahead, I wanted to share a small story with all of you. Mostly people already know it.
Your name and your company, please.
My name is Ritu. I'm from Indian School of Business. Yeah. So, John F. Kennedy, he went to NASA, and then he met a janitor, and he asked him, "What are you doing? What do you do here?" He could have said, "I'm a janitor, my job is this, I do this, my shift is this." He said, "I'm trying to help them put a man on the moon." Right? So for me as an HR, we measure productivity, but if we're able to tell people why is it important, what they're doing, or what they're expected to do, rest everything will fall in place.
I think that's perfect point over there, that purpose-driven leadership and to keep everybody aligned in the same organization.
What happens is people at the bottom of the pyramid, for them it's more of tick, data, quantified data to measure their performance.
Right.
People at the top, they view it, that it is moving, yes, no. But they are not able to connect those dots. For example, if a project manager is doing these three things on time, what is the effect it has on the commitments by the organization at a broader level? So if somebody is able to translate that vision to the team, so then every one of us can be as confident.
Right.
I think that janitor was.
Truly, and a lot of performance management systems have this thing in place, which was just telling me today, that there's an organization tree, right, and there are goals set by the CEO. And then he divides those goals, for example, say there's like 1 million goal, right, $1 million to be achieved. And then he divides this among his, other subordinates, and they in turn divide it in their subordinates, in their direct reportees, and that's how it goes on. And once, things get, pretty achieved, right, for example, if, say $100,000 get achieved, that will completely get filled the level of the performance that is being done by the specific person at the bottom of the pyramid, gets reflected in the others as well, right? And that's, entirely shows where the person is, where the organization is for that matter in achieving the final goal. And that sort of gives a sense of, pride in the employee itself, that, okay, this is the level that, my work helped achieve in my organization's goals, right? So that is something that Shridhar and I were just talking about, and I'm sure Mr. John will have something to say on it.
So I absolutely agree with you. Everybody should be aligned, and it's not easy.
It's a tedious task. It will take effort, especially as an HR. It just somewhere down the line it also comes to us how we are partnering in the business, how we will understand the business. Only then we will be able to give back the impetus to the business. Okay, this is really not productive. But actually, what is productivity for that? For that business will vary.
So I learned this one technique from Meta Lab's Oculus Lab. I don't know if it was Meta's Oculus Lab. I was there, they were the client, so I was sitting in their office, and they have a core value, mission and purpose very clearly written. And I asked him, how do you guys apply these things to everybody sitting here? And exercise was very simple. So whenever they have a monthly group meeting going on, so they share stories, they appreciate other employees for some core value, and that aligns them for the core value. And then they also share purposes of the company and how they align. Randomly, it's not all done, it's all regularly done. We adopted that whole mechanism. As a leader, as a CEO in a monthly meeting, I asked everybody any stories to share about core values. You want to appreciate anybody for core value. So you need to name a person, share a story, link to core value. 3 things you have to do it. And then you also think to everybody. And this is how people start evaluating. I have no idea how the process is done. I'm sure he is a civilian employee, so he is a tougher job. I hope you understand. So why don't you say so?
Yeah, so, that's a beautiful way of going about it.
Yeah, very well said, sir. So in our context, we obviously focus a lot on the strategy period, the strategy, So I think on 12th on 13th of this month, we were in the same hall actually, doing the same workshop with 300 of Basilians, we call. Obviously, the aim was to have it bottom-up approach, not the top-down. What we also do is to report back the progress, we call, on the monthly basis, town halls. People can, Basilians can ask any questions, and sometimes they really ask difficult questions. I can tell you. It's not easy. And obviously, as Mr. John put it, we, obviously look at the values and we recognize the fact that, somebody is doing really right. We have a game changer in our context, which means, just reflecting the same situation. And it is the peer group, not the, bosses, what bosses think this. So those are the few mechanisms which comes to my mind right away right now. But I think, it has to be continuous. It's basically about organization culture, long term, not a short term.
Yes, lovely. So,
I think this is where HR also comes in. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your question, and thank you so much for all of you all for all your questions. And I'm sure a lot of you all still have some questions. So at the end of the event, we'll be sharing the feedback for. Please share all your questions with us, and I'll make sure that your questions get answered. All right. Yeah. And with that, thank you so much, Mr. Patania and Mr. Johar, for sharing the stage with us. And thank you so much for being a lovely audience during that specific activity. And next up, we have a panel discussion.
Sat Shri Akal. I don't know after this what to say, because I'm not from Punjab. Okay, great. So good evening, great session, Vinay, and my dear friend Sachin moderated very well. We still have to talk about productivity, right? The more important, in India, there are so many events happening. We need to find out whether event is being productive or not. Correct? People come for a food, people come for a, maybe let's say networking, learning and all. Yeah. So we have lot of things to discuss. So my name is Ashish Kakre, founder of HR Shaper. It's a 10-year-old body. We just completed 10 years in month of Feb. We do a lot of events, lot of gathering, not only event but more than event also. Yeah, and so if I just talk about, okay, I will talk about the event later, but let me talk about, my association with Keka. It's almost more than 2 years. So thank you Kshitij and entire team of Keka for being with us. We have done a massive road show last year in 2023. Almost did 15-20 events in every location. I think, we reached out Chandigarh to come in 2023. But yeah, more or less we are here. So we are going to each and every city now again and again. How many of you have even Keka? Okay, how many of you want to have a HRMS? Not Keka, huh? Okay, raise your hand again. How many of you want to have HRMS right now? Want to replace HRMS? Okay, I know you don't want to raise your hand, otherwise Keka team will be after you. But anyway, HRMS is need of hour. Okay, do you think HRMS increase the productivity? Okay, how many of you know Excel? Or do you use Excel? What percentage of Excel do you use? What percentage of Excel do you use? 10%? Overall. So knowing the picture is one thing, but using Excel is another thing. So if you use Excel just 50%, you are being more productive in the organization. Yeah? Okay, we'll talk something more about it. And let me invite now, because we are running short of time. The starter is already being served to make you more productive. Yeah? You need to have a lot of energy for us to make it productive, yeah? Especially panel speaker. Okay? So let me invite first panelist, Dr. Nandita Mehta, HR Head of Cognizant. Next panel speaker is Tivarta Cole, HR Head of Net Solution. And then Ravneet Malik, Head International Business. Can I invite Sonia Tayal, CHR of Prime Care? But yeah, let's have a diversified views. Okay, Kshitij, I know your workshop after this, so tell me exact time how much we have. 41 minutes. You know, when we work in pressure, so we are being more productive. Right. Okay, so without spending much time, let's have an opening remark on the topic, which is productivity pulse. A lot has been said in the first conversation, but yeah, we can share much more things. Let's make it more interactive. I will come to audience more often now. See, this is scripted panel discussion, which is very easy to do it for a speaker and for a panel member. Imagine you are going to appear in the exam. You know the question paper. You know how to write the answer and all. So it becomes very easy, right? And that's how the panel discussion happens. Yeah. So I want very different views coming from each one of you, not the views but the question to the panel member. Yeah. So let's say opening remark from each one of you for not more than 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. I'll start. So we just been witness to a very interesting conversation on productivity. My thought is that more than productivity, and I think that came out in the conversation as well, one should look at performance. And, the whole movement where we're doing away with jobs which are simpler in nature and which are repetitive and where productivity probably would be an issue, right from the days of the time and motion studies, we looked at different ways of measuring those kind of jobs. But those kind of jobs are now going to become increasingly rare. We've already had an expert in automation here. So automation, AI, all of those are going to make those relatively simpler, repetitive jobs redundant. And what will be required will be a lot of complex thinking, a lot of collaboration, a lot of creativity. And for that, I'm not sure if the productivity aspect of timesheets or looking at it at an hourly basis or a weekly or a monthly basis will be all that effective. So that's the thought I want to leave you with.
I would like to, am I audible? Yes. I would like to add, to whatever Matt said just now. Yes, productivity actually matters, but I believe the tools, the automation is actually very, very important to enhance the productivity. But let's not forget the word, that's empathy. Empathy is the excellence of, anybody can, mother of excellence, right? So if we are not empathetic towards our workforce, I do not think we will be able to bring the productivity in them. So for that, a human touch along with the productive measures is very, very important. As per me, I believe, how many of you will agree with this remark, right? So if somebody is monitoring us, 24 hours, we will feel uncomfortable. But then if it is the monitoring with the mentorship and the pat on our back that yes, we did a good job, so that means empathy made us work pretty more productive.
So I would just add, as HR, we have to be an enabler to the entire process. When we say we need productivity, we need to define metrics to define this productivity also. It's not just that he hits a whatever, six or whatever, and then there are always measures. And you can't have different measures. I would say, there are different ways to tackle hypos instead of not tracking them or not monitoring their productivity. What you do with hypos is a different thing altogether, and those are the theme of your company. Measuring productivity will help you identify the hypos. And then you can focus and target them and build them up further and do succession planning around it and stuff. I don't think measuring productivity should be taken personally. Okay, it's not that because I'm tracking, so I don't trust you. It's got no connection. So tracking should be for everybody, like Ma'am said, equitable for everybody.
not only for the low performers or mediocres.
Okay, we had a question from her, and then Sanjay had a question on.
So I guess the question was about Gen Z. Am I right? So I guess we all are struggling with this generational gap. So we have boomers, we have Gen Z, we have millennials, Gen X. So all of them, bringing all of them on one platform is the big thing. So what we normally do in our organization is, organizing, intergenerational collaborations wherein they can learn from each other and they can understand that, okay, fine, this is from a millennial coming from a millennial thing. Then what is that he has achieved so far? So we can show these Gen Z a pathway from where boomers came, from where Gen X is there, Gen Y is there, and then this is Gen Z. It is absolutely very, very difficult to tackle Gen Z. I do agree with you. They want things like this. They don't want to, climb the ladder, but they want to reach the heights. So they forget that there is a pathway where we all have to lead it. We all have to start from the first step to reach the last one. But I believe, this is what they need to learn. More of the interactions with the, whatever employees we have, more of the interaction, sharing their success stories, sharing their failures will help every generation to learn from each other. That's what I think.
Okay, we'll have a few more questions, then we'll wind up.
So I have a question, like, we do have distractions with our productivity team, and that distraction can be from their personal reasons as well, within their family issues as well. They were performing very well at the peak, but at a certain point, that performance got dragged. So it can be the family reasons, but how can we identify that? Because there is a personal space and no one wants to share that. And professional issues are already there because so many companies are hiring for the same talent, and they may be landing messages in your LinkedIn chats that we are looking for this much of positions and all, and that can be the distraction point for the top players of your company where they think of joining another organization.
That's all. So question, if I can summarize, how to SAS identify the distraction source, right? Personal and professional. Okay, anybody from here? Now I need question from now diversity. 1, 2, 3 out. 4. Yes, you are in. Yeah. A lot of questions coming from people.
Diversity question. So how you maintain productivity when organization is going for a change? As you grow, you change processes, you change tools, you change all that stuff. So that change management or change system creates a lot of hassles, a lot of resistance, a lot of everything. So how you ensure that?
How to take care of the change management. But what is it to do with the productivity? Okay, very good point. Yes, one more. 1, 2, 3, out. Okay, out. I need question from diversity. See, panel is also the center diversity. Yes. Where is the late of Punjabi? Yeah. Yeah. But for a moment, let's hold on this. Anybody else? Yes.
There are a lot of ways to track productivity of employees, but is there any way to track productivity of the channels where we're working with? Is there any ways by which you think, we can motivate the channels which are working with us? How can we track their productivity in true essence? Is there any chance?
Okay, so when you say channel means what?
Channels mean the associated partners who are not working on salaried basis but are working on a profit sharing basis.
Stakeholder, if I can say?
Yes, that's the right word.
So how to take care of the stakeholder and understand their productivity?
Not exactly the stakeholder. There will be like, you may say like channel partners like agents, maybe like kind of the word I may use it.
How to assess their productivity?
Correct.
Wow, this is going beyond organization. Okay, 3 questions coming. The source of the disruption, personal, professional, change management is taking place, productivity goes up and down, and then, forget the company now, it's beyond the company, how to take care of the channel partner. Yeah.
So I would go for the change question where the organization is dynamically changing and how do we measure or assess the productivity. So first thing is you have to adapt at the same pace the change is happening. Unless you adapt with the same pace, there will be a discord between the process happening and the team will not have a clear picture of the rules of it. Right? And the easiest thing to do is go for have like right tools, enable the people with the right tools, and like when the vision of the organization is clear that they are going that path of change, the systems have to be set at the very initial onset of that understanding. It cannot happen, there cannot be a lag between the process, because eventually that will lead to the failure of the entire workforce.
So I'll take up the question where you look at productivity dip because of personal issues. Now I think COVID gave us a great deal of data, information on this aspect of productivity. The fact that people were grappling with very contentious issues, very personal issues, life-changing issues, and at the same time they were also supposed to be productive, and that too from home. So that whole period taught all of us, a lesson in leadership in terms of leaders being, very much open to the fact that there is this whole person who's coming for work, and they need to address this whole person, including their personal issues. So that bond, that openness to listen to the person, making time for those conversations to happen, that becomes extremely important to understand why productivity may be dipping. And the fact is that none of us can be 100% productive all the time over a sustained period of time. There will be dips and there will be highs and lows. So to be cognizant of that, to be mindful of that, and to be supportive when those dips happen are part of the leadership repertoire. So that is one. And then I'd also like to bring this aspect into change management. When people are grappling with change, again, there is a sense of loss. Their expertise may not be required anymore. They might have to learn something new. So it is a transition that they're going through, which is a kind of a loss in a personal sense of the term. So being mindful of that and letting a drop in productivity go by without commenting too much on it could also be part of the change process. So a lot of studies show that when organizations go through major change, there is a normal dip in productivity, but if it is handled well and if it is handled with support, then people bounce back much more earlier and they go through the change process faster.
More to do with the channel partner. Anybody want to take it up? Outside organization, how to assess the productivity, the channel partner.
So we have consultants. So ours is an IT-based, it's an IT service. So I don't know which sector are you from, but we have consultants. We have those people who are on an hourly basis with us. The productivity actually. If I'm allowed to say that, they are much more productive because of the RTA system. Okay, so they really go by hours. So there was this person who's just joined us, and right from the day one, he was saying, I am available from this time to this time. And I've never heard an employee say that to me. Okay, we tell them the shift timings, we tell them the usual work timings, but the consultant said the opposite thing, that I am available from this time to this time, and how can I be most productive and available when the UK shift is there and all of that. But I would like to answer the two other things by an example, the Gen Z thing or the personal issues, for example. Okay, so there was a day before there was he's a kid on the block. Okay, 2 years. You can't call them kids anymore. Okay, they don't like that. But and he was not really being productive in the sense he was not really being available at work. His leads were suffering, his function heads were suffering. No matter what, he was, and he has a desktop given by the office. So it's a tough thing for him to get the desktop every time to office on a hybrid model. Okay, so there was a lot of confusion around it. We've asked him to improve in September, last September, but there has not been any much change in his productivity. So day before we had a call with him, and he kept on saying, "Nahi ma'am, now I'll do it. Just give me another month and I'll show you." And then that is when I don't know why I said that. I said, so all of us have gone through your age, you know. So is there something that is bothering you right now? Because it was quite evident to me, I don't know why. But, and there was something, he said, can I talk to you offline about it? There are my function ends also in the call, so I can't discuss it right now. But there was obviously something, and I think that is one example, but, diversity, when you talk about diversity, women folk have this perennial issue, right? The personal front that we have this marriage and mobility and maternity and stuff like that. So there are a lot of personal things that all of us go through. Okay, we have to empathize with them. We can't ask them. Okay, so there's an employee who cannot be available because she's got 2 kids and she wants to be at home when they come from school. So we allow that flexibility. We say, okay, you go back at 2 p.m. So those things do matter. The empathy bit, I think they do expect it from the HR more than their own business heads. They do come to us and really speak their heart out. And I think it depends on how good a listener you are and the empathetic approach that you bring into the table. That part and the change management bit, we just got HRMS in our system. PMS, performance management system, was all in Excel in our company. It's a huge change to get everybody onto an HRMS, which is Keka Katalyst. It's a huge change. How things used to be done earlier, Excel sheets, Google Forms, Google Sheets, to bring that kind of a mindset change is a huge change altogether. Okay, we do know that there might be a productivity hit in the sense because we are taking sessions after sessions with them just to ensure that they go through it smoothly. They know where to put their goals, they know where to put their competencies and skills and stuff like that. And there are these developers, there are designers, and everybody is different. But as HR, we have ensured that there is a change going on in our company for the better. Okay, there will be things that will be more systematic, more organized. We have to let them know, trying to help them to understand what are we looking at in the bigger picture. A brighter future, easier. Yes, the first cycle now, appraisal cycle starting, is going to be tough. It is definitely going to be tough. We don't have all the answers with us. We don't have all competencies identified that will easily flow down into an HRMS system. Okay, a lot of things. But I think once we overcome that hurdle, I think it's going to be much better. Yes, so change management has never been easy, but I think it's, unless you all understand that maybe there'll be a slight turf right now, but long term it's going to be helpful.
What is coming across, true ecosystem infrastructure play a very important role. No doubt person has also be effective and initiative and more proactive actually. Yeah, and COVID has proven that we became more productive because there was a good ecosystem, good logistics, good support. I mean, there was no internet down. That's how we were being more productive, right? Great. And thank you for being a lovely panel speaker. And I want to request you to give a one word which is more related to the productivity. So when you say, okay, somebody is more productive, company is more productive, what is the one word you will think of? Just one word.
Highly engaged employee.
Highly engaged. Good. Yeah.
Successful company.
Successful company. But that is not the source. Why somebody is more productive?
Okay, you want why somebody is more productive?
Yeah, or some company is more productive. Like she said, engage employees, so company is more productive. Culture?
Right, so in the meantime, I would just like to remind everybody that post the event, there will be a feedback form sent to you. And I would love you to share your feedback with us, be it in the form of questions or be it in the form of any improvisation pointers for that matter. We would love to listen from you, right? So till the time the photo session is going on.
Well, it's going to be pitching Keka mostly. So in entirety, the event was more about creating that learning. Bringing that learning up, the benchmarks on which the industries are operating, and this part I want to give a quick walkthrough about what Keka is, because during the conference, a lot of people did ask me like, what does Keka do, what are, and a lot of aspects that Keka can do, right? So I will try to give a walkthrough on that, but let me start with a story first. Alright, so just like Ashish, let me also start with a story. I thought I'll not tell this story, but again, it's making a bit of a context, so let's say. So this is a story about God and a scientist. So this is somewhere 100 years from now, where science has found a lot of power, and science is able to do almost everything that God was able to do. So scientists went to the God and said, we don't need you anymore. We can almost do everything that you can do. So God got curious and he asked, what can you really do? So scientists like, all right, okay, let me give you a demo. So he took some soil, made a shape out of it, a baby, then did some mumbo jumbo, did some chemical reactions, and baby started crying. So it got alive. So scientists looked at God with arrogance and said, this is it, this is how it works. This is all you created. So any questions? So God was looking at the entire thing, and then what he said is, everything is fine. Can you make your own soil? So, moral of the story, making your own soil, at the end of it, it will always require something elemental. Why this story over here? Because probably I'm going to talk a lot about what we do for HRs, in front of HRs. So, you guys are the gods here. Anything that we have designed here comes from you as inspiration, from as a source. When we started building this platform, so the journey from here, right? So we entered the Indian HR market in 2016. Although the operation started somewhere in the end of 2015, the first benchmark that we look at when our operation started was 2016. 2017 was by that time, the entire concept of building this product was to design it for our own people. We had, there is a parent organization that we used to operate before Keka. It had like 400, 500 people, and the kind of HRMS platforms that were available, they were really not doing it. So we started building this platform for our own people. In Hyderabad, we gave it to a few friends of ours, a few entrepreneurs out there, and they started using it. Within a year, we found that it got all, that the product got all viral. We had more amount of incoming than we could ever cater to. So the amount of implementations took some time, so we couldn't do that. So 2017 is when we acquired our first 100 customers. 2018, we redesigned product for more audacious purposes. We brought in, so initial of the journey, it was digital transformation. I think all of you are HR professionals, you would have getting those cold calls from all the number of companies that we want to go with the digital transformation. We will revamp your HR, we'll make it digital, we'll make your life easy and stuff like it, right? So digital transformation at that point of time, the definition of digital transformation was to make it, to change HR in a way where all the transaction works that HRs were busy doing, maintaining Excels, doing follow-ups and stuff like it. We thought that we'll try to get them out of it through automations, and we'll try to give that centralized database on which you can build strategy to operate your human workforce. By 2018, we started realizing that this paradigm is not small. As soon as we provide market with something for enablement, they look at the next level. The need automatically evolves. So we started seeing that for the basic transaction work once it got done, more strategic features like performance management, workforce planning, compensation benchmarking, payroll compliances, all of this started to come. So we revamped our product in 2018 when we relaunched it. 2019 is when we crossed $1.5 million as a benchmark of revenue. 2020 is when the sales got boosted by 7x. So COVID was a very big benefactor for us because people going remote, there was no way that organizations could really get in touch with their people properly. So HR platforms at that point of time started making more sense. Building a digital culture started making more sense. So we also brought in those features like culture wall in Keka where people can democratically share an appreciation or area of improvement for people to work on. So 2021 is when we have like today, if we look at our journey today, we have close to 10,000 customers who are currently powered by Keka as HR technology. We are the biggest HR tech vendor in India with our nearest competitor. I think if you look at our nearest competitor, we are thrice as number of customers as any other has. So this has been like in entirety a phenomenal journey for us. Right, so we cater to all like 15 plus industries, from IT ITers to more blue collar centered industries. We have our solutions deployed in all those spaces. While we actually started evolving our platform, we also understood that there is a diversity of need in every corner of HR today. So if you look at IT, we had IT has a different set of requirements altogether. There is we talk about vision, mission, culture in IT a lot more because all technology companies are trying to do something audacious. So there is a certain aspiration that the founder has, a certain purpose for the community trying to elevate it. While if you look at all the other segments, it's more operational, more productivity driven. So for information technology, we brought in features. For retail industry, we have features. We have pharma and manufacturing related features and education industry as well. So currently, like if you look at Keka's portfolio, we provide features for different industries based upon their needs. If you go to the blue collar side of the business, the features like shift management, shift scheduling, shift rotations, all of these become more critical. If you go to retail, features like tracking field staff, tracking people's movement becomes more critical. So we brought in features from all these aspects to make sure that one single technology you can use your diverse, you can utilize it for your diverse workforce and take care of it. Alright, so the way we look at it, over a period of time, so it's extremely small, I'm pretty sure that it will not be readable. So this is a set of features that Keka platform has. So if you look at the base of the platform, the first is the center of the platform is the core HR, where the entire core HR functions like managing your database, creating your organization design or structure, creating different hierarchical structures inside the organization, the operational structures, whatever runs inside the organization, you can create those. On top of that, core HR is the entire strategic part that Keka does. So the same core HR module provides or supplies data to all the different modules that are there in the platform. So if we talk about the extent of platform, the modules that we have today, there is a Keka Hire, which is an applicant tracking system, which kind of helps you in streamlining your onboarding, the talent acquisition process. From raising a requisition in a certain department to doing the entire job posting, you can take care of it in Keka seamlessly. That system, once the Keka hiring process ends, and you have selected certain candidates, it moves into the onboarding phase. So we have a full-fledged onboarding engine where you can design onboarding flows for different kind of users. Every organization has a set of bench of pyramid if you look at people. So you can design different kind of processes for different kind of people. So onboarding comes up with different features like from offer letter generation to shooting out vendor-related things like let's say a gift goodies required to be given to somebody. Right? So all of that automations can be designed on top of it. The entire candidate engagement or employee engagement during the onboarding which can be taken care by this. We have time and attendance related modules which rotate more on managing the time of people. You can create leave plans for your people, run different, if you have a group of companies, you can have different leave plans for different set of workers. You can take care of the entire tracking policy also. Keka comes with more than 8 different kind of methods of attendance tracking. From biometric or facial recognition device integrations to application-based punching methods, location tracking-based methods to remote punching methods. All of that can be taken care. If you have a hybrid workforce, we come up with features like management of work from home requests and stuff like that. So time and attendance, once you have that data inside the system, you can utilize the same set of data to process payroll in the month ends. So again, being an integrated system, month-end hassles will not be there with Keka. You can automatically, the data gets pushed to the payroll department, where in 6 simple steps you can process your payroll. The entire compliances we have built state-wise in our platform, so it gives you all the required compliance challenges, which is essentially one big feature that we have in payroll. one important thing about Keka is that every single module of Keka comes with a set of analytics, because analytics is the next new thing. Right? If you don't run on analytics, the other way I think is just fuzzy thinking. Out of experience you take decisions. Analytics is that data-driven method of taking decisions. So Keka comes with all the 4 kind of analytics in all its modules. There are descriptive analytics which give you a current condition of what your data or your workforce looks like. There are diagnostic analytics like attrition analysis and stuff like it, where you can very closely monitor that which are those aspects where on which your organization is getting hurt. Attrition runs on multiple logics, like a lot of times we say people are leaving because Gen Zs are less loyal than the old league, right? So you can actually look at those in analytics and you can check it out. Other than that, if you move forward, HR operations, the entire HR ops can be taken care over the platform. One single automated workflow, and there are event triggers and stuff like it. So automatic greetings, engagements, and everybody, the employee engagement which is required from HR side, employer branding which is required to be done by HR strategic partner, all of that can be taken care of over the platform itself. We have project management and performance management as well, which is, performance management is my personal design. So, we have designed all the different kind of goal setting methodologies in our platform. From OKRs, the traditional methodologies of KRA, KPIs or SMART goals, to the new age methodologies like OKRs, balanced scorecards. You will find all the methodologies inscribed into the platform to be used whichever way you think your workforce requires it. Because within a workforce itself, if I do not read India wrong, in the last decade I have seen that there are multiple different kind of methodologies required within one ecosystem itself. So performance comes up with all the 4 measures which are required to run a performance management process inside the organization. You can have a performance planning phase where you can do steps like goal settings, steps like goal acknowledgement, that can happen, right? Then there is goals tracking, where your supervisors and managers on a consistent basis can take a look that which of the goals are on track, which of the goals are lagging, which of the goals need attention, and at the right time, they can take an action on top of it. So you can establish a dialogue with your people on the lines of performance even before the review is happening. So we also maintain continuous feedback also as an option where performance diaries of your employees can also be inscribed. Anybody has a good feedback and appreciation to give to somebody, you can always use it. We had a suggestion earlier where if there is some core value which is which has been reflected by the employee, you can always record those and you can actually attach it with the core values. It will automatically show in the review forms and you can take ratings based upon those decisions. So we thought that the static method of performance management which was there earlier, with the cloud technology you could counter and bring in something more productive which is more dynamic in nature. So all of that concepts you can actually find in it. So other than that, we also have launched a Keka Learn module last week, where we also have a learning management system where you can create courses for your workforce. You can give rights to your managers to create courses for their people. So like all this cyclic information which keeps getting lost for your people, you can actually help out as HRs for them to record those information and keep it in systems. So this is the entire piece on which Keka helps. If you want to take a deeper look about Keka, you can always get in touch with any of these people here. We can help you in getting more details about the platform. Alright, so one important aspect that I would like to also highlight here is the support design that we have for the organization. We understand that digital transformation in itself is a huge job. Because any organization which is coming for a digital transformation comes from a certain memory earlier. So there is an amount of processes and designs or data which is already there. So we have solution architects which will help you design the entire scope of work of how your processes should work or how do they work, they record that, and they create proof of concept for you to experience it. Once you have experienced that, we also provide project management related facilities where you can look at an entire implementation as a project, and we will deploy certain project managers to help you out in that entire phase. There is a constant technical support available 24/7, and you can always get in touch via chat calls, and you will also have an account manager with Keka. That was the last point. So, frankly speaking, we follow cut-to-class practices in terms of providing implementation support to our people. And largely the way we look at it, it takes 6 to 9 months of time frame for an organization to effectively settle down. For every single individual to effectively settle down into the HR technology that is required. Alright, so last pointer that I would like to bring forward. So for any people that are currently there on any other HRMS platform, we have data migration as simple as switching to a new phone. So there are readily available APIs available with our platform, which can, within 30 seconds of time frame, we can migrate your entire configurations in your existing HRMS platform to Keka, along with the data, historical data, and through APIs, all of that effort of re-implementing a platform is not there. So within a week's period of time, we can give you an alternate parallel Keka system with the same configurations and trainings. Alright, so let me use the last bit to give a prowess about who we are. So our current analytics, how do they look like? We have, as I said, more than 10,000 users on our platform with close to 1.5 million users across India. We have currently more than 25,000 HR, community of more than 25,000 HRs around India, which is currently utilizing our technology or effectively taking care of their processes via it. In hiring and onboarding, we had more than 29 lakh sourcings happened last year, with more than 5 lakh new hirings happened on Keka platform or the different companies that are there. 95,000 hybrid work requests were encouraged. 16 lakh plus employees got their payroll processed every month previous year. Performance for more than a lakh candidates happened. More than 70,000 people got appraisals recorded. More than 20,000 people in our system got appraised in the last year. Security is one of the top-notch things for cloud systems. So we followed, again, the best practices from ISO certification to GDPR compliances. We have all the certifications required to provide service to Indian ecosystem. If you have companies outside India, we currently provide our services to 8+ countries as well. So which is, Middle East countries we are providing services, US we are there, Singapore market we are providing services. So we have built-in compliances and security measures keeping all these aspects in mind. So ISO 27001 certification, SOC 2 compliance, disaster recovery, GDPR compliance, vulnerability assessment for data security, loss protection, and these are some of the aspects on which Keka makes sure that there is the system data is secure. Our recorded uptime for the system is more than 99.98%. So hardly for 5 to 6 minutes around the year is when our system is down, when we make changes or bring in new features. So that's the maximum amount of extent that our service is out of reach for our users. Alright, so last but not the least, the integration is the next big thing. Right? So again, as the technological revolution is deepening, the data transformation in itself is evolving into data intelligence, where all the different transformations that has happened in different departments, like sales department has a CRM, maybe the leadership has a ERP implemented, there is an HRMS for HR team, right? So all these technologies you can integrate with Keka, where different kind of performance data which is stored in different systems, like people's sales performance data is in CRM, automatically all those migration against people goals can happen through these integrations. We currently integrate with accounting softwares like Tally, we integrate with ERPs, we integrate with IT integration platforms like ClearTax and QuickBooks. Travel management features are there, chatbots are there, job boards are there, learning management is there, and so forth. So there is n number of categories. We all are HR professionals here, so we understand there are n number of services that HR ecosystem requires. So we have an integrated marketplace available where you can utilize the same pre-integrated vendors with data, and the data migration and all the other aspects can be seamless. So that was the entire thing about Keka, what Keka does. If anybody has any questions about Keka, any thing that you want to ask me, yeah, so we have L&D, we have an LMS, we call it Keka Learn. So it comes up with the capabilities of creating courses within the organization, and you can also pull courses from different platforms like Coursera and all. So if you pull those courses, you can assign a set of people. You can do assessment of those people after the training also. So whoever is doing those courses. So all of that is part of the Keka Learn module that we have. Yeah, so I said a couple of weeks we released the tech is anyway. Any other questions? Alright, I think that sums it up, and we can move to the next activity. There is one thing which will keep bothering me, because in the last session there was one question asked and I think we didn't answer it. Me operating as a performance coach, it essentially is, I need to answer it. So the question was asked by you, where you asked that people have, a lot of times their performance is hampered not because of organization strategy or organization's culture, it is because they face problems in their homes, right? And they don't feel, they really don't want to share it with the organization. What do we do as a company about it? So, to answer this question, what do we do at Keka? I'll give you an answer about it. So at Keka, we do goal settings for different reasons. So one is, we follow a balanced scorecard approach at times, where we make sure that there is a balanced approach of goal setting for people. The other way around, we run multiple goal processes. So while there are organizational goals or department goals which are being assigned to people, we have a goal setting cycle which is for individual goals, where people write their own aspirations. So if you look at any organization, the picture looks like this. So there is a founder who has started a business, who has a sense of purpose, what he wants to deliver through this business. That purpose runs great until unless there are, people are not joining. Once people start to join, every person comes up with their own individual aspirations also. Some want to learn, some want to make money, some are trying to find sustainability. So this entire gap between these two, right, where organization aspirations and individual aspirations are not in line, is where this disconnect is happening. So we as organization, a lot of time, we try to go out of the box, build in those processes to make sure these things come out. So once in a year is where we ask our people, we provide them that psychological safety to write those goals, the personal aspirations, and declare that how those personal aspirations will contribute to organizational goals over a period of time. It does not need to be right now. The other way around is for a certain process. There is a blunt project management method where, if you look at it, there are resources who do, once given a purpose or strategy, they do activities. Those activities bring output. If you keep maintaining output for a period of time, it converts itself into outcome. If you keep maintaining outcome over a period of time, it brings impact into the world. So we ask people to write goals around outputs, around outcomes, around impact, and go about it, and we encourage that. And all the different three segments have different cycles. Impact-related goals can go for 2 years and 3 years also, while the committed goals, the output goals, can happen as per organization dimension, which is quarterly or half-yearly, whichever way. So that was one pointer that I wanted to answer. I hope that it answers that. Yes, please.
So basically, I really wanted to check with you. We talk about productivity, we talk about mental health and other things a lot. But what are we doing for it? Do you have some tools to integrate some physical and emotional well-being?
Right. So we have technologies. So I can't recall the set of companies that are currently in partner with us. I'll share it with you in a small while. So I think Amaha is something which is into mental well-being. There is XOXO Day, which is a rewards and recognition platform, which also runs few of that. We have Onsurity out there, which is employee benefits, which is also again catering to that space itself. But I'll have to understand a little more that what we specifically are we talking about here. So those can happen. Along with that, if I talk about how do we take care of it as a technology ourselves, we try to democratize organizations. We are a democratic country, and I believe that the workplaces in India should also be democratic in nature. They should not run in a command-based leadership model. It should be more of a trust and purpose-driven leadership model where people themselves connect with the purpose that the business has and give efforts for that purpose. So how do we do that? There are few features in our platform which kind of revolve around that, right? So grievance redressal is one of it, which was designed in keeping in mind that people can express any pain that they have. We brought in organization wall, department walls into the filter where if you as an organization want to make sure that your people express, you can always give them all the different kind of liberty. Our people, very recently we did an outing and we had controlled budgets for alcohol in it. So they would put GIFs like, they would make a video amongst ourselves and they will put it onto the Keka wall to make sure that the organization gets get that message. So a lot of time you can utilize that democracy for people to actually utilize it. We are trying to make it 360-degree and flexible for people.
It is just one thing. I think emotional health is something which people want to be very personal about it. They do not want to share whether they are availing those services or not. I can bring in one perspective. In our organization, I can't name the tool that we are using, but we integrate with one third-party tool wherein people can go avail the packages on emotional health and they can do it anonymously. And
we truly respect their space for this thing, that they do not want to share the name. Even we don't know as an HR that who have availed the packages. I think something like that should be there.
Yeah, so a couple of it which comes into my mind right now is that we are integrate, our preferred partner is Cult, right? So if you want to run Cult passes for people, so Dexo is there, which is a free integration with us. So these are all different kind of employee encouragement, extrinsic, intrinsic, whichever way you want to take a look at it. So that's why I wanted to understand that what aspect are we talking about here, because there is a big cosmos of vendors providing service out there.
A lot of questions were around on the employee mental health, on the employee motivation. So before I tell what we do, I have two questions for you. Just raise your hands, no need to answer. How many of you know your insurance? Okay. How many of you knows your TPA? And if I ask, how many of you have your health cards in your mobile? And how many of you have in your laptops? Good number of people have. So generally, the HRs will get a call at 9. Anytime you get a call, there is an emergency, can you share your health card, right? It happens with how many of you? Most of you it will happen, generally the employees will send. So we understood this problem and we created a solution around that. In today's world, you carry one product with you always. That is your mobile. If something can be integrated to your mobile, your HRMS tools are today integrated with your mobile. You put your attendance, you put your leaves, you get everything in your mobile. The same way, Onsurity is a new age healthcare company for employees. We integrated everything. Your TPA, the APIs are integrated to your mobile. Any time you want, you can see your sum assureds, your TPA, your mental wellness sessions, where we don't keep any data. Directly the third party, it will go and you will get the counseling sessions. We don't keep any of data of the employee, directly it goes to them. So we are one company who is trying to give you a medicine discount, health checkups, your mental sessions. You want to do any activity like dental. Dental is not covered. Generally, if any accident happens to you, generally they will take out your teeth, after that they will not do anything. So we have tie-ups with dental companies who will help you out, pan-India level. And if you want to do anything extra with Onsurity, we are always open. We have a stall outside. Please do check. Any question around employee healthcare, we are available. Thank you so much.
Right, lovely. So, right here we had a lot of questions on LMS. We heard a lot of people asking about, the learning management system that was just launched. So, we have our product manager here, Mr. Naman Gupta. Can I please have Naman here? Wonderful. So, we'll explain in a gist what the LMS is about, right? Just 5 minutes and we'll make you understand what the entire product is about.
Thanks, Nishal. So, guys, I'll not take much time. I think you're already halfway done in terms of sitting here. So, guys, you might be aware that currently the onboardings that are happening in the organizations is a big hassle for you, right? So, whenever any person joins in your team, you have to give them entire detail on how does your actually company works in terms of culture, eventually how does your product works, and how the other things go around in your company, right, in terms of processes. That's a big problem, because each time a new person joins, you have to give that demo manual. So we saw a loophole here, and we saw that, hey, we can solve this particular problem by bringing in a learning and management product for it. So that's where Keka Learn came into the picture. And now, after dedicating 1 year to it, we are finally live with it. If you have any questions around how you can enhance your learning and development, which comes onboarding sites, and then your upskilling side, Keka Learn can be a go-to product for that. So now you have an ecosystem all around with Keka to actually enhance this whole process for you. That's all. Any questions around it? I'm available outside. You can connect with me and we can take this up. That's mostly all about it. Thanks.
Right, and we come to the end of the session, guys. But then the word of thanks would be given by somebody you have just heard, that is Mr. Sanjay Satseva. And he's a hardcore HR and L&D professional with 30 years of experience. He's one of the first few L&D professionals who was part of the L&D initiative in India. He has worked for HR department in a lot of organizations like Escorts, Coca-Cola, Reliance, LPU for that matter, and CII. So over to you, Mr. Satya.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I think so now I'm not coming between dinner and you. Because saying when this last person will go and we go out. So I'll just take 2 minutes for this. We started this discussion with Keka 2 months back. One of the leaders in Hyderabad, and they said we want to do some event here because Keka is doing across India. Maybe let's do something in Chandigarh. Last year in June we have done with one of the industrial body, HR Summit, and it was very successful. But more successful is this year with Keka. A big number of applause for you all who have made it till 8:39. Because I was saying, that's how Chandigarh I was sharing with them, it's a city of retired people, but as a maximum HR heads are women. So be cautious that let's do a summit, they say no, let's do a model of an evening and let's close with it. So thank you Keka for coming to Chandigarh and doing this event, and we really need such HR because it's not happening. We try to do such events along with Keka and many other bodies. So thanks Keka people coming here, thanks all the panelists. All the moderators here, all the sponsors in partnership with Insurity, HR Shaper Ashish, who was one of the moderators, came from Mumbai. So thanks Ashish for that, coming to this place, and now is yours.
Okay, yeah, with that, there is no other person coming in, guys. This is the pretty much end of the session here. And thank you so much for being such a lovely and engaging audience. I mean, I'm not trying to flatter you all or anything, but this is the most engaging crowd that I have noticed in the 16 conclaves that I have hosted. So huge round of applause for each and every one of you. Yeah, please make it louder.